Japan is one of the strangest and most unstable countries in the world. The ground shakes constantly, volcanoes are still active. In the north, there are villages buried in snow for months at a time, while in the far south, there are subtropical islands with blue water and coral reefs. This is not just a country of cherry blossoms, it is many different worlds existing together across a chain of islands that is constantly being tested by nature. And yet, from that very place, Japan has created one of the most orderly, refined, and captivating societies in the world. Everyone knows Tokyo, everyone knows Mount Fuji, but if those are the only names you know, then you still do not really understand what makes Japan special. Because some of the most memorable places here lie far beyond the familiar images. Snow-covered villages, pilgrimage trails through ancient forests, wooden towns where time seems to slow down, and remote islands that make it hard to believe you are still in Japan. What is most fascinating about Japan is not found in its most famous icons, but in the places that few people have truly seen. In this video, I'm going to take you through a very different side of Japan from the one most people imagine. First, a Japan of sacred mountains, temples, and beliefs woven into the landscape for centuries. Second, a Japan of towns and villages that have preserved much of their original identity. And third, a Japan of wild, dramatic, and surprisingly diverse nature that feels completely different from the familiar image many people have in mind. The deeper you go into these three sides of Japan, the more you understand why this country is not just famous, but truly unique. Because what makes Japan so unusual is not just its technology, bullet trains, or neon lights. It is the fact that these islands have always had to live with earthquakes, volcanoes, blizzards, and rugged terrain, yet still manage to create a beauty that feels deeply ordered, refined, and unmistakably its own. If you want to understand Japan at its deepest level, do not begin with Tokyo, begin with the mountains. Because in this country, mountains are not just scenery. In many places, they are sacred ground, places where people go to feel closer to the divine, to their ancestors, and to the silence that modern life has slowly pushed aside. One of those places is Koyasan. High in the mountains, surrounded by ancient cedar forests, Koyasan is not just a famous destination, it is the center of Shingon Buddhism and a spiritual world that has existed for more than 1,000 years. When you come here, you do not just see temples, you hear the sound of temple bells fading into the cold mist. You walk along moss-covered stone paths winding quietly through the forest. You pass through Okunoin, where thousands of stone markers, lanterns, and ancient trees give the whole place an unusually deep stillness. What makes Koyasan unforgettable is not its grandeur, it is its silence. A silence that feels deep, dense, and rare, as if time itself moves more slowly here. But Koyasan is not the only place like this. Farther south in Wakayama, ancient pilgrimage routes like the Kumano-Kodo run through the mountains, connecting sacred shrines in a network that has existed for centuries. And in places like these, you begin to see something very special about Japan. Here, the landscape does not just create roads, it shapes belief, daily life, and even the way people experience the world around them. And that is exactly what many travelers miss. They come to Japan to check off the famous places, but the deepest parts of this country only begin to reveal themselves when you slow down, become quieter, and allow yourself to feel more. But Japan is not only a land of constantly moving cities, it also has places where time seems to slow down. Places like Shirakawago and Takayama. If Tokyo shows how far modern Japan has come, these two places show how clearly the country has preserved its past. Shirakawago sits among the mountains and is famous for its steep, thatched roof houses built in the Gashozukuri style. These roofs are not just beautiful, they were designed to survive harsh winters and the heavy snow that can completely cover the village. That is something very Japanese, turning harsh nature into a form of architecture that is both practical and beautiful, almost like something from a fairy tale. In winter, when snow blankets the rooftops and warm yellow light glows from small windows, Shirakawago feels like an old memory still lit from within. Takayama has a different kind of beauty. Deep in the mountains, this town still preserves its old wooden streets, artisan workshops, sake shops, and a slow rhythm of life that is hard to find in major cities. Walking through Takayama, you feel something very clearly. This place is not trying to look old. It has simply remained itself. Some places are famous because they are stunning, but others stay with you because they have held on to their original character. Takayama and Shirakawago belong to the second kind. One of the biggest misconceptions about Japan is the idea that only its major cities can leave a strong impression. But many of the feelings that stay with people the longest come from smaller cities. Take Otaru in Hokkaido, for example. It was once an important port city. Today, It carries a rare sense of nostalgia. An old canal, stone warehouses, small cafes, quiet streets that let you feel how Japan once opened itself to the world and how much it has changed since then. Then there is Kanazawa, not loud or overwhelming but still full of a quiet classic elegance, and Matsumoto, where the Black Castle still stands like a piece of history that time could not wash away. Places like these show you something important. Japan does not have just one identity. It is not simply modernity standing next to tradition. It is many layers of history still existing at the same time. The Japan of old port towns, of samurai districts, of craftsmen, and of smaller cities that are not world famous, yet stay in your memory for a very long time. If you only look at Japan through temples, cherry blossoms, and perfectly clean streets, you miss half the country. Because Japan is not only elegant, it is also wild. In Jigokudani, snow monkeys sit in hot springs in the middle of a white winter landscape. The scene is beautiful, but also strange, and more importantly, it reveals something deeper. In Japan, life has always had to adapt to harsh natural conditions. Then there is Hakone. The lake is calm, the forests are still, but beneath it all lies volcanic ground that is still warm. That is one of Japan's defining qualities. Even its most peaceful places are often born from unstable geology. And when you climb Mount Miyoko or travel through the mountain regions of Nagano and Hokkaido, you discover yet another side of Japan, broader, colder, emptier, and much closer to nature than the image many people usually have. That is when you begin to understand Japan is not only beautiful in an elegant way, it is also beautiful in a way shaped by fire, snow, stone, and time. And here is something that surprises many people. Japan is not only a land of snow and cherry blossoms, it also has a tropical face. Far to the south are Okinawa, Ishigaki, and Kabira Bay, places with blue water, coral reefs, white sand, and an atmosphere that feels like an entirely different world. This is not the Japan of bullet trains and skyscrapers. This is the Japan of the sea, island culture, and the distinct legacy of the Ryukyu Islands. And in places like these, you begin to see clearly that Japan is not just one color, one mood, or one identity. It is a chain of islands stretching from the snow-heavy north of Hokkaido to the subtropical islands of the far south. You think you understand Japan. Then a distant island or a quiet bay appears and forces you to see the country all over again. And that is when you realize Japan is not just a famous country. It is many different worlds existing together on one island chain. If I had to sum up the most special thing about Japan in one idea, it would be this. Japan is not captivating only because it is beautiful. It is captivating because nature, history, and people are tied together here in such a deep way. Many places have beautiful scenery. Many places have modern cities. Many places have long histories. But very few places combine as many layers as Japan does. Violent nature, fragmented geography, social discipline, refined aesthetics, spiritual belief, and the ability to rebuild after disaster. That is why, when people leave Japan, what they remember is not just a place. It is a feeling of cleanliness, a feeling of quiet, a feeling that everything is exactly where it belongs. And very often, the places people talk about the least are the ones that leave the deepest mark. Maybe the most beautiful part of Japan is not found in its most famous places. Maybe it is found in the quieter ones, an old snow-covered village, a forest path, a mountain temple, or a distant island that makes you realize Japan is far larger and more diverse than you first imagined. Maybe that is why this country remains so compelling for so long. Not because it is always trying to overwhelm you, but because in its most beautiful places, Japan has a way of making people feel more at peace. If this video made you see Japan in a different way, leave a comment and share your thoughts. If you found this video helpful, please share it so more people can discover it. And do not forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Wishing you peace and happiness.